Hi, folks. John Dunn here, RPG freelancer, publisher behind Melior Via. I'm up here today with Mikey.
What is up, John? How is it going?
It's going pretty well. How about you, man?
It's good. You know, I had to bust out the Uma Thurman because I just thought that it was Kill Bill Day today. So,
pulling it off, man.
Did I match the theme of what we're talking about at all?
Well, there are swords involved.
Okay. Okay.
But I am afraid this could be the conversation that gets us banned from the interwebs, because we're going to touch on a dangerous topic today.
Well, it's not that hard to get banned off YouTube yet. I don't want to.
I mean, I'd rather not.
Yeah.
But we're going to talk about anime cat girls today.
Okay.
Right? And that's a risky topic at the best of times.
Just jumping straight in.
We're just jumping straight in. We're going to talk about the Danger Gal Dossier for Cyberpunk Red.
Nice.
And this is kind of a monster manual for Cyberpunk, kind of the equivalent of that, because this is a collection of non-player characters and the factions that they belong to. And the way they set this up, the framework that they did for it, is that this neocorp called Danger Gal compiled information on all these different individuals and the groups they belong to. And the members of Danger Gal happen to have a thing for dressing up as anime cat girls. Cyberpunk anime cat girls, not surprisingly given the setting, right? Usually I do like to start off by mentioning who worked on it. Jay Gray and Aaron Tarbuck were the leads on this, but there were a lot of people who contributed to this, and that's probably because there's a lot of characters and stat blocks in here. Jay Gray previously worked on the Cyberpunk Red Core, and this is a pretty recent book. This was a Gen Con 2023 release.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Okay. Everything that's in here is set up in a pretty consistent manner. If I just flip open to a page, you can see that there's going to be a character illustration, you get a stat block, some background history, and that's almost every page in this book is going to be organized like that. So there is an awful lot of material in here.
I think I saw a killer clown.
You definitely saw a killer clown, and we're going to come back to that. There's tons of hooks in here. There's a sample adventure that leverages a lot of these different groups that are in here, and it's very focused on Night City, which is kind of your default setting for Cyberpunk Red. Like I said, every group, you got a history, personality, artwork, and a stat block. And a lot of these stat blocks are also going to be easily reusable, so that if you need something similar, it's going to be real easy to pick up that same stat block and use it again. The groups are broken down by factions, and then each NPC has a difficulty rating, basically ranging from a mook up to a hardened boss. And there's lists at the back that break everything down by their name, their faction, their role, and that level. So, you know, how intense of an encounter they're going to be for different characters. Just going through these different factions, and like I said, the book is organized into the different factions, and there's quite a few of them. I think there's about 15 or so. The first one is 6th Street. They're a street gang that became a private law enforcement group. So they're still a street gang, but they're licensed to be police.
So they found a loophole. And
essentially, yeah.
That's a Wilson Fisk move right there.
It really is, yeah. The next one are the killer clowns that you mentioned. It's another street gang. They're called the Bozos. Okay. And yeah, they're a gang with clown themes. Kind of reminds me of Akira right at the start, one of the gangs there. Next up is the Danger Gal Puma Squad. These are the anime cat girls that are involved in compiling this document. They're an elite investigative squad that's part of that corp. And they're also the advertising branch. So they're an espionage group who are hyper elite, but they have media published about them. So you can go and watch their anime series if you want.
What?
Yeah. Exactly. And there's merch, and they've got fans who follow them around. It's kind of comical. It's well done. It's very tongue-in-cheek, and it looks like a lot of fun, honestly. Yeah. Next group up is the Digital Divas. They're a brat punk band. So they're, basically street punks who are out there performing too and leveraging that. Edge Runners. Edge Runners are kind of one of the archetype player character organizations that you might have. So they're typically PCs, but this is just a group of them that could function as, independent mercenary types as you need them. Next up are Generation Red. They call them a Yo Gang.
Yo Gang.
Yo Gang. That's short for youth gang.
Okay.
And these are preteens. So these are realistically little kids
Probably
that are
shouldn't be
living
ganging.
on the street and creating trouble and having fun. Now, this is one that might not be a great fit for every game group, but you can do some interesting things there, unquestionably. Maelstrom is the next one. They are a heavily cybered gang of basically drug-dealing scavengers.
Okay.
So a lot of the members lost big chunks of their body when a nuke went off, and they're kind of scavenging that nuclear wasteland to find replacement parts. NCPD, the Night City Police Department, has a write-up as one of the factions with plenty of stats. Network 54 is a news network that Max Headroom is a little before your time, I imagine.
Yeah.
But really reminded me of Network 23 from Max Headroom. The Piranhas are a gang of active, aggressive, violent, drug-dealing party planners.
Party planners.
Party planners. So they organize raves and parties.
It makes
and
sense
then,
coming from those people, man.
And then they sell the drugs to keep the parties going.
Okay.
So they're organizing the parties so they can get their cover charge, but also so they can sell.
A lot of genius felons over here.
Exactly. The Sightseers are another gang. They're kind of smugglers and procurement specialists. So they'll get what you need when you need it. Team Monster is a group of edge runners that very specifically are designed to fit together and work together as an elite team. And then Trauma Team Squad NC42 is an EMS team. Basically an emergency medical services team that's going to respond into the most dangerous areas and be really well armed when they do so.
Wow.
Right. So not only are they going to save your life, they're going to kill everybody else around you.
Okay.
Yep.
Frontline workers.
The Tiger Claws are a Japanese Oni themed gang. Do you know what Onis are?
Yep.
Okay, cool. They're a street gang who also runs a protection racket. So kind of similar to the 6th Street group who are, licensed police officers. They're also doing security. They're just charging people for it more directly.
Yeah, of course.
And then the Zoners are a neighborhood watch who happen to be a neighborhood watch in the middle of a combat zone, right? One of the least stable parts of Night City.
Like what?
They're trying to secure it for the people who live there and, going to whatever means necessary in order to secure it.
What are those meetings like? I mean...
It's got to be an experience. After that, there's a brief rules section. It provides some new gear. And then they have a specific section that calls out ways to generate NPCs. And, it's different than what you'd go through to create a player character. It doesn't need to be quite as detailed, a little faster. And it works pretty well. And then finally, like I mentioned at the start, there is an adventure in here. It's called The Incident. I'm not going to get into any details or spoilers, but it clearly leverages the different factions and the different NPCs that are presented here in this book. Because there are so many characters in here, there is a ton of illustrations throughout here. Just flipping through it, pretty much every page has some kind of custom artwork. So it's a real pretty book. It's well put together. It is 170 pages. It is a hardcover. It's a full color book. It's $40 from Artel Saurian Games in conjunction with CD Projekt Red. If you're thinking about running a Cyberpunk Red campaign, this is a really critical book because it's going to give you a lot of characters for the PCs to interact with as that game progresses. And even if you don't use these specific factions, a lot of these stat blocks are going to translate really well and keep your campaign going in new and interesting ways.
Yeah, I feel like it gives a lot of range too, just a lot of diversity as well.
Yeah, so if you're interested in this, we've got copies on the shelves up here at Immortals Inc. Stop in and take a look or just hit us up at immortalsinc.com.
Very well said, John, and thank you guys for watching and have a good one.
Till next time, folks, good gaming.